Hi everyone and welcome to my theme card. It's Friday. Today I'll be showing you how to make a pop-up card. I'm going to make a Mother's Day card today, but this card here I'm going to show you how a pop-up card actually works. And it's as you pull, a sentiment comes up and it folds back down. This one's still fairly new, but the more you play with it, the more it fixes itself. So, yep, let's get started. The colour combination we'll be using today is going to be Basic Grey, Blushing Bride and Sahara Sand. Now to make the actual box component you need a 8.5 by 4 1/4 or 1/8. So I used an A4 piece of cardstock and cut it in half, and then I have scored at the 1.5 and 3 inch mark. So you go ahead and you do a mountain fold into that. Then by placing the cardstock like that, that is how you get the box component and the pull. So just using the sticky strip to stick that together, I'll show you how to get started. But let's do the front of the card. Okay, so grabbing the Blushing Bride cardstock and the Sahara Sand, we're going to decorate the Sahara Sand, or stamp the Sahara Sand cardstock. This is my new stamp set and we're going to be using Parlor prints, which I'm so excited. We're christening it and I couldn't wait to use it. Gave it a little bit of a clean. Okay, so putting the stamp block on its back, getting my basic grey ink and inking it up. I don't want it fairly inked up and fairly heavy. In fact, I'm actually going to grab a baby white and I'm just going to dab along very gently. Okay, so now I'm going to grab my Sahara Sand cardstock. I'm going to place it this way and I'm going to grab a scratch piece of paper so I can press down to get good coverage of the stamped image. Okay, and this is the stamped image that we got. Isn't it beautiful? It's such a beautiful stamp set. Okay, now so that is the base of it. Now I'm going to grab my sponge using the Basic Grey ink again, and I'm just going to sponge the edges. So grabbing some ink on my sponge and just sponging the edges. Okay, so I'm going to adhere that down to the mat of the Blushing Bride cardstock, and I'm probably just going to, because that pink is fairly strong, and I'm going to tone it down just by putting some ink on it. Okay, now for the strips, it's the same thing. I'm going to stamp on my Sahara Sand. Now the Sahara Sand now I'm going to grab my background stamp again, and I'm going to grab my Basic Grey ink pad. Just stamping that gently and then randomly getting that off. I'm going to place the cardstock down on it nice and gently and then pressing down on them. And lifting them straight up. Okay. I'm so loving this Parlor print stamp. It's just so nice. So I'm going to adhere that down to my Blushing Bride. Okay, now once that's adhered down, again sponging the edges of both Blushing Bride cardstock. Okay, so they're the panels for that card, and I'm also going to do the same for this one here. This is going to be the flip up component of the card, which I'll show you. I'll bring it back, which is this one here. how it pops up like that. Alright, so I'm going to be sponging the pink and adhering that down. Alright, now on this one we're going to use the Happy Birthday stamp from the Teeny Tiny Sentiments, and what we're going to do is I'm going to use my basic grey marker and I'm going to just Happy Mother's Day going down. So, and then cleaning that up with the wipe. I am going to ink that up, and I'm going to use the Parlor prints again, but because I haven't inked, like cleaned that, I'm just going to use a little bit where I can see there's some ink still on there, and that bit just there. And I'm just going to press it down and get some colour off it. And there you go. Okay. Alright, so I'm just going to stick that down like that. Okay. Alright, so that's that part of the panels. I also wanted to finish decorating, well, finish that bit off. And to do that, I'm going to grab my Embossing Folder, the Designer Series frame, and I'm going to run this through the Big Shot, and I'm using the rectangle folder. Okay. Once I've done that, I'm going to trim around, and I've cut a rectangle piece that fits exactly in there, and we're going to stamp on that image. Okay, so from the Rue de Fleur stamp set, I'm using the corset to stamp on this very vanilla cardstock. So I'm just doing it very lightly, and I'm going to stamp using the Established Elegance and just this floral stamp image. I'm just going to grab the Blushing Bride, stamping off and then on. Just, it's very light, you can barely see it, but just as a background and around like that. There we go. Alright, and then just grabbing my watercolour marker, I'm just going to squeeze my ink pad to grab some pool of ink in there, and I'm just going to grab my aqua painter, and I'm just going to grab a little bit of ink and just add a little bit of the Blushing Bride colour to the floral. Just very randomly putting the colours in the floral part of that. Okay, then grabbing my sponge, and very lightly this time, doesn't need to be heavy. That's the image effect there. Okay, so I'm going to put that in the middle, and you can probably get a closer look of what we're doing. Just placing that there. Okay. I forgot to mention, this paper that I embossed on is from the Flirtatious Specialty paper in the Designer Series paper pack, and it's such a beautiful one. It's got the delicate doilies on there, laser cut out. So I've just sponged the edges of that so the pink and the white isn't so strong. Now I'm going to grab a strip of Very Vanilla, and using the Edgelets Adorning Accents, I'm going to cut a little border out. This is what it looks like embossed and cut. Isn't that fantastic? Now, you make sure you always cut first, then you emboss. Otherwise, you will flatten the embossed image and you won't have an embossed image. So I'm going to stick that down and grab the right length of that. And I'm going to, you guessed it, ink it up again. I love my inking. Just the edges, and nice and gentle. Alright, so I'm going to only run the snail along the top of that because I don't want to flatten my image, my embossed image. And then I'm going to stick that just 3/4 of the way down. I'm going to grab some basic grey satin ribbon, and I'm just going to adhere that down. So I'll just grab some snail on either side, and I'm going to fold the ribbon over. Okay, I just kept it on the spool, you see, and then I'm just going to line it up like that. Okay, and then this image is going to be popped up using dimensionals. Alright, so I've popped that on using dimensionals, and now I've just got a glue dot, and I'm going to put it behind the satin bow ribbon using basic grey and just placing that there like that. So that is what the matte of the grey on this will look like. Okay, so now we're going to start piecing it together, and we have to use sticky strip because it is a interactive card and it will get used, so we want to make sure that, you know, we get the best sticky on there as possible. So I'll just zoom out and grab my sticky strip. Now, with putting your sticky strip on the cardstock, you have to put it on the outside of each cardstock, okay? On the outside panels. And on the 3-inch piece, you flip it up and you put sticky strip along there. Now this piece will be adhered to. Sticky strip is very hard to get off. Now I fold that down and I match it up to the tip of the cardstock, and it goes down like that. Okay, so that's what it'll look like. And then we take these sticky strips off. You don't need to watch. Okay, so having it like it's a boxed again, it's probably better seeing it from the top view, is you stick it down, making sure, because it's sticky strip, you get it right, and then doing the same for this side, getting it right like that. Okay, so it takes a bit to maneuver and get this, making sure it's popping in and out because it's fairly new, just making sure it's all pressed down. Alright, so we're going to adhere that down using my snail. And there is the card. Now we need to also put the side panels on here. That's the front of the card, this is the side panels. There you go. So play with it a little bit. It does take a little bit of a play, and make sure it's all folded and all the folds are right. And hi everyone. I just also wanted to mention that Stampin' Up is offering a great opportunity for new recruits. So I'm talking Australian dollars because I'm here in Australia, but as of 1st of May, for $169 you can create your own customizable starter kit. So you can choose pretty much any current Stampin' Up high quality products and make it into your kit. Now the kit can be equivalent up to $235, so pretty much you can make it whatever you want. If you want to be a demonstrator and get all the big shot items, you can pretty much customize your pack so you can get all the dies and the embossing folders and the big shot. So it is a great opportunity to be a demonstrator and to grab this opportunity while you can. Stampin' Up have always been very generous to sharing their love and the opportunities they can give you. So I think this is a fantastic one. If you want to join my team, just send me an email at joe@joherbert.com. And you can either log on to my blog, which is joherbert.blogspot.com.au, and I would love for you guys to be on my team here in Australia. So I look forward to hearing from you guys, and thank you for always supporting me and watching my thank card. It's Friday. All right, have a great weekend.